Being painfully bored, I was greatly relieved when Marcia called and said that some of the kids from school were getting together to hang out, drive around Westerville, and see if we could have some fun without getting in trouble. She wanted to use my 1962 Chevy Impala because it was big enough to seat 7 people. I agreed. We had a great time, but we did start running out of things to do, so we headed off to an area of our community where all the rich people lived. The locals usually did this because we wanted to drive by their houses and talk about what brats they were. Suddenly, Marcia suggested that Carol, who was with us and was about to get her driver's license, take the wheel and try her luck. As unbelievable as it may sound now, in a moment of sanity, we all thought it was a great idea on that day. Carol got in the car, and the first thing she did was put it in reverse and back my automobile into a deep ditch. We spent the next 20 minutes trying to get it out of the predicament. Then Marcia noticed we were across the street from one of our friends from school, so she walked down the long drive to try to get some assistance. While she was gone, miraculously, we were able to wiggle the car out of the ditch, so by the time she returned with her friend, the problem was solved. As I looked up, there was the girl from the house down the long driveway, standing there wearing a bikini. It was my first bikini. Normally, Ohio people wear clothing similar to the reason that bears have fur, for protection, warmth, and of course modesty. But there before me was a bikini displaying its fruit like a bowl full of cherries. I don't know why it shocked me so much. Perhaps I had never been that close to breasts that didn't belong to my mother. I tried not to stare, and of course, when you try not to do something, it becomes even more obvious that you're doing it. She was dressed in a bikini because she had a swimming pool, which normally would have caused us to make fun of her, but since she was wearing a bikini, I reconsidered. She was the same girl who believed the Easter Bunny lived at her house, and who sat next to me in biology class like a timid lump of nothing. But today, she was a bikini. We didn't stay long, but all the way back to town I was thinking about the sight. I thought about it all that night. I woke up the next morning thinking about my first bikini. So later that afternoon, I called the bikini girl on the phone, and I asked her out on a date. I realized that some of my friends would ridicule me because they had characterized her as a rich weirdo, but I didn't care. I was driven by a higher force, certainly not as high as the heavens, but floating somewhere above the earth. I learned that day that romance needs more than love. It requires lust. And lust has a very brief lifespan without love.